So I figured I'd do an overview video of this motherboard. You might remember this motherboard from the first Vintage Mega Haul video I did last year. This is the 386 board with the Mr. BIOS chips that are installed on it there. And it's also got 8 megabytes of SIP RAM, which are those sticks of memory that have pins on them that you plug into the board. It's got 4 banks right there. And this board has a 386 SX16 chip on it. It's also got a math coprocessor, and it's also an Intel chipset, which is kind of cool. Got both 8 and 16-bit ISA expansion slots there. But the thing I want to go over on this board mainly is the Mr. BIOS thing. I'm not going to bother to benchmark this board. I don't really feel like it's necessary. The performance of this board is going to be around the same speed as a 286 16 and 16-bit code, somewhere around there. And 386 32-bit code, it's going to be, not very good. It's only 16 megahertz. These are kind of sluggish boards for a lot of things. But 286 and older software is quite speedy on these things, works just fine. Something like Descent or Doom or something like that would be way, way, way too slow to play on something like this. But so let's go ahead and take a look at the Mr. BIOS on this board, and I'll let you see what that looks like. It's nothing terribly fancy or special, but I don't know how many people have actually ever seen a Mr. BIOS screen before. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so first you can see us do the memory test here. I'm going to go into the setup utility. And you can see here, gives us a lot of interesting information. 386SX tells us the CPU revision, math coprocessor 47SX, cache RAM, there's no cache on this motherboard. Shadow RAM is enabled. And you can see it's giving us the system memory amounts there. Interestingly enough, this BIOS lists 4 COM ports, 4 parallel ports, 4 floppy disks, and of course 2 hard drives there. Keyboard, numlock, Typematic, VGA. Also has video secondary, which kind of makes me wonder if this BIOS can actually support 2 video cards being installed at the same time. Go over here to clock. It's just what you would expect. Numstate, Typematic, stuff like that. You can see the boot sequence here, and you got this cold boot delay, which goes up to 30 seconds. Hit the space bar here. You can see I'm getting it up to 30, and then it rolls back over to none. And the cold boot delay, older hard drives back then had a problem where the platter, the type of metal that the platter was made with, actually had to warm up and expand in order for the heads to match the sectors on the platter. So if you didn't give it enough time to warm up a little bit, it wouldn't boot up. That's what the cold boot delay thing is all about. And if you took your computer out of the box and it was a cold day sitting outside in the back of the UPS truck or in the back of your car taking it home, you'd probably have to let that sucker warm up for a few hours before it would boot up. There's a lot of PS2s and PS1s and older XTs and stuff, those older hard drives. Some of those hard drives had a problem with that. They wouldn't even boot up until the hard drive had reached a certain temperature. And even then they could probably have some bad sectors or act like they had bad sectors because not everything was quite in line yet. So that's what that cold boot delay is for. It won't actually try to boot up from the hard drive until after the preset time right here. And if you had a hard drive that took a little bit of time to spin up or something like that, this could probably help that too. You know, wait for the hard drive to spin up fully before it tried starting to boot from it. But mostly this is just to allow the platters to expand so that the heads could read it. And you can go over here to security, enable or disable, and shadow. This is where you can set your shadows for the different adapters. You can see the memory ranges to the left there. And if I don't have any cards in this except for the video card. And you can see down there where the video is, it's saying ROM number 1. And yeah, that's unfortunately that's about it to show you on a Mr. BIOS here. It's very limited. It's a nice looking BIOS though. It looks really nice. It's really nicely laid out. But you know, there's no options in here to change your cache timings or your memory timings and things like that. To change your, say, your memory to 0 wait or 1 wait or something like that. You just don't have any ability whatsoever to alter any of the timings, so it's pretty limited as far as that goes. The biggest reason for the Mr. BIOS was to allow for larger hard drive capacities. And being that this Mr. BIOS is dated 1994, yeah, it probably goes up to 540 megabytes. It might do a gigabyte or two. I don't know how far ahead of time they would have programmed these BIOSes back then, these Mr. BIOSes. It might very well support up to a 2 gigabyte hard drive. I haven't really tested it. But you can see this BIOS was made, well, I'm assuming anyway that it was written in the USA. Microid Research Incorporated, Mr. BIOS version 1.65. But yeah, like I said, there's not really a whole lot to see in here. But I thought that was kind of interesting that this BIOS can support 4 floppy disks. That's and 4 LPT ports. That's pretty interesting. So anyway, this is kind of a short overview of this motherboard, and yeah, I think that's going to be about it for this. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again right here on the Wayback Tech channel. Peace out, everyone.